Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to the It's a Sarah podcast. Today it is Friday, September 29, 2023, and this is episode 108. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I love talking about my knitting and crochet so much that I make episodes twice a week. And I make them in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Do you hear the rain? It's raining quite hard, quite suddenly. Oh, I think my little girl is outside on her bike. Poor one. Okay. Yes, I want to share my crafty adventures, my handwerk perikelen, with you from the last days. I have 4 things to share with you. I have a finished object, 1. It's a hard jumping one, so I will tell you all about that in a minute. I will put it on in a minute. I also frocked a sweater and I want to share a little bit about that process with you. It's so interesting to frock something. I received some yarn from a new online yarn shop here in the Netherlands with Portuguese and Spanish yarn. So I will share a little bit about that. And last but not least, I want to tell a little bit about the Hinterland dress make-along I'm organizing with my Dutch knitting friend Jessica. Maybe it is interesting for English-speaking people too. So, okay, let's start. I'm not wearing any knitwear or crochet because my finished object, I really want to wear it. I'm looking forward to wear it days and days and days, but it is still a little bit on the warm side for it. It's not sweater weather yet. It is raining, but the temperatures are around 20 degrees. In the mornings and in the evenings, you can wear a cardigan or maybe a sweater, but during the day, it is way too warm. And I'm quite sensitive for overheating, and being overheated makes me grumpy. So I don't want to wear my sweater all episode. I quite regret that, but it's better. It's better for the mood. Oh. Doors ringing. I think it's my girl. I will take a look. Moment. It was someone else. My daughter was home already, not soaking wet. Lucky her. Okay, let's go to my finished object. Because it's really a hard jumping one. Oh, I'm sorry. My yarn tries to escape. Ta-da! Here is my Ariana sweater. My scrappy Ariana sweater. Of course, I was absolutely inspired by the pattern of the Ariana cardigan from Christoffers. I made one last year, and I tell you all about that in episodes August, September 2022. Maybe I can link it at the end of my episode, so you can check that if you want to. But for me, this pattern of the Ariana cardigan, it is really hard jumping because it's a combination between crocheting the granny squares. I'm really a deep, true granny square lover, and the knitted borders. And for me, it was the first time that I combined knitting and crochet in one garment, and it felt so natural and in balance because I'm a knitter and a crocheter, so it really made me happy. And I love wearing that cardigan, and I immediately knew that I want to make another one. So I think I don't know if it was March or May, but I started this one earlier this year, and I wanted to make a scrappy one, a scrappy sock yarn, because I really love the scrappy projects. I really love to combine all the scrappy yarn ends and create that, even when you think, oh, those are not really matching, but at the end it creates one piece that it's perfect in balance. So I really love that process, and I Did make scrappy socks and scrappy blankets, scrappy shawls, but never a scrappy sweater, I guess. I made a scrappy My Little Secret crop, so I did play with it, but I just love scrappy projects. So it was my plan to make a scrappy Ariana cardigan, but quite soon I realized that I could also make quite easily a sweater of it, and I really would love to have a sweater, a V-neckline sweater. So I did that. My main color is black, and I'm really happy I chose black because I don't know, I love the contrast between all the colors and then the black. I just really love it, and it was such a fun project to work on. I crocheted a granny square every morning, 5 rounds. My squares, I measured my Ariana cardigan, and I had to add 1 round because this yarn is thinner. This is a fingering weight yarn, and for that cardigan I used Sport DK weight yarn. I followed the smallest size of the pattern. I think it's only available in 2 sizes, maybe 3. But because with the crochet, with the granny squares, yeah, it's different than knitting a sweater or a cardigan. When you knit, something grows in rounds, or you can go back and forth, but you are knitting and it's growing from bottom up or top down. But with the granny squares, you are building 1 square, another square, a triangle, and you are building a sweater. It's totally different. And I really love to build. I discovered build with wool, building with wool. So I made a granny square or a triangle or whatever you need every morning, and I immediately did weave in all the yarn ends, because there are a lot of yarn ends. They are peeping out everywhere, and yeah, I think that's just what's part of the deal of this sweater. It's okay. I'm okay with it. Every now and then when I see them, when they are bothering me, I cut them off. But yeah, it is what it is. I chose black as the main color, and this is Mondim yarn from Retrosaria, Rosa Pomar. It was gifted to me. Now, I think I bought this ball myself. In the beginning of the year, I had a kind of I had a collaboration with a Dutch yarn shop in Dordrecht, Rebel with a Twist. And the owner, Alexandra, asked me if she could give me the new Line Socks book, 52 Weeks of Socks, Volume 2, and the yarn for a pair of socks in it from Rosa Pomar, the Montemuro socks. I did some Portuguese knitting. It was very fun, very much fun. And she also gifted me the yarn for that, a black yarn ball and a white. And the leftover from the black I used for this. And this one I actually had bought to knit myself a new pair of leg warmers. I'm really a leg warmer lover. I think it's something from my childhood, but I feel very cozy and comfortable wearing leg warmers when the weather is cold enough. But the ones I did wear last year, they are not looking very good. I didn't choose good yarn, just a scrappy yarn, and yeah, they are a bit fuzzy, and I can still wear them, but it was my plan to make new ones this summer. Didn't happen. And now I don't have enough yarn, so I have to... Oh no, I wasn't gonna buy any new yarn. We have a problem now. Yeah, I don't know. We shall see how we will fix that. But I'm absolutely happy with the colors. It is a bit of a mess in my basket. I didn't clean it out, but this is my sock yarn basket. My needles are in it, and I did remove the really tiny scraps because they get tied up together every time. Yeah. My scrappy sock yarn stash is decreasing, is getting smaller, and that's absolutely okay, but I have still enough for several scrappy projects, and that's also absolutely okay. What can I tell more? It is a bit... Oh no, I want to tell that. Oh yeah, I want to show you. You all help me with the what was the name? center decrease stitch. Center decrease stitch, yes, I guess. I did the decrease in another way, and it didn't work out the way I wanted to. And then you all recommended me the central decrease stitch, and it was quite fun because I did know that stitch, but I forget it. I always am cleaning up in my head quite good, and sometimes you throw away knowledge that you could use later. But I did rip out my neckline, and I worked so many times, especially with the bind off, but I ripped it out, and now it's perfect. I don't know if you can see it. It's maybe a bit hard with the black light, but there is a perfect, I think you can see it this way. Yeah, I'm really happy. So thank you all for helping me out. Let me put it on. 1 minute, please. Ta-da! Sarah's happy. Look at this. This is my granny square sweater. My Ariana sweater, and it's perfect. Now, it's not perfect. Of course it's not perfect, but it is hard jumping. Let me start with the sleeves. I told you I made 2 lengths of sleeves. This one, and then I thought, no, it's too short. I really love the long cuffs, and I really wanted to here, so I decided to make this sleeve a little bit longer, and then when the sweater was totally finished, I could decide which sleeve matches the best, and I thought it would be this one, the longer one. But when I did that, it was absolutely not matching, and I think it is because of the negative ease the sweater has. It's really it's not really a sweater, but a little sweater. That was not really what was meant to be, but it happened, and the very long sleeves didn't match the fit of the rest of the sweater. So I ripped it out and made it shorter again, and I think I will wear it like this, a little bit of bracelet length. I do love to wear a lot of bracelets, and now you can see them, and when I wear a cardigan over it or a jacket when I go outside or when it's very cold, I can fold them down. So yeah, really happy with that. I also have quite a big border at the bottom, 40 rounds I guess. So it's a cropped sweater. It's perfect for all my skirts and all my dresses, and yeah, I love the look of it. It's a little bit, the squares are a little bit wider, then there's quite some negative ease in the border, but I love the look of it. When I was starting this project, it was my plan to make another cardigan, but suddenly I saw the possibility of making it into a sweater, and I really love the idea of the V-shaped neckline, and I'm very, very happy. The only thing, I didn't actually use the pattern anymore. There are not only positive recommendations on the pattern, and I think I didn't deep dive in it, but I think it's mainly because of the finishing touch, of the construction of the squares. You have this, how do you say in Dutch? We say it, yeah, this pattern, a plattegrond. I don't know the right word. I use this as a building drawing. Do you say it like this? I did some modifications on the arms because it is actually right there. I don't love the white fit under my arm, so I changed the construction, and I think for me it's really hard to explain it in words, but when you are a bit puzzling with this drawing and with your squares, it's quite easy to do it. I must say there is more negative ease than I would love, so this is quite a tight fit, and I love the look of it, and it's also not annoying to wear. But next time I would make it a little bit bigger. I guess it's really yeah, it's okay. It's really good, but it's also quite tight. But the hard thing on the pattern is I think C tells you to crochet all the squares and triangles and quarter squares you need, and then you crochet them together in once with one single yarn end. So you only have to weave in the beginning yarn end and the end yarn end. And I did that before with a blanket, and it was not working nice for me. I didn't like it. So I crochet them together as I go. So I started at the bottom, and quite soon I decided to make a sweater of it. So the half squares, the quarter squares, I replaced with a triangle, and the 2 triangles for the cardigan I made a square, and then it's a sweater. So it's easy peasy. And I did crochet every 6th round with the black, and you do have to weave in more yarn ends, but I don't mind weaving in yarn ends. I love that. If you say it often enough, you will believe it, believe me. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. It really, I'm wearing it on my bare skin right now. It is my plan to wear a tight long sleeve under it. Yeah, the only thing is the square here is, because of my breasts, there is a little bit, it stretched out a little bit. And I also saw, I'm sorry, I don't know if I have to mention this, because when you see it, you can't ignore it anymore. Where the squares are coming together, you can see a kind of a circle, and it is exactly on the spots where I have circles, but it was not really. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to explain it. Sometimes you have those pictures that people are sharing, photos or pictures. Do you see that? And I always have to look. No, I don't see what you mean. And when they say it, you can't not see it anymore. So do you know what I mean? I think. Yeah, when I was looking in the mirror, I thought, oh no. And I don't know if I look in the mirror now, I don't know. I don't care. Maybe, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It is what it is. So be aware of that when you are making a sweater too, that there can be this. Okay. Yeah. I think I told enough about this. I have this feeling that I forget something. No, I don't think. And I've told about it so often, so I think it's enough. And I am very happy. My back is looking so good. Oh, it's if I am wearing a blanket. It's really, I love it. I am definitely going to make another one. I'm not sure if that will be a cardigan or a sweater. I think before I will start it, I have to wear the sweater sometimes, so I don't know how it will wear, how it will feel, but I think I would love to have a brown one. I also have the Retrosaria Mondim in a rusty brown, and I have a lot of brown scrappy sock yarn, so I would love to make all the squares with brown shades, and then make a brown one, and then make a DK one, and then make a Lopi one, or whatever one, I don't know. So I'm not done with the squares yet, but I won't cast on immediately. It will give me some time, but it's really it's really lovely. Look, here are some yarn ends peeping out. Hi! That's part of the deal with so many yarn ends. I'm okay with that, but I'm really feeling nice in it, although I am getting warm right now, so I will take it out in a minute. But it's really lovely, and I have to make pictures and and share them on my Instagram and on my Ravelry page, but they will follow. And it's really a hard jumping sweater, and it was also really a hard jumping project, so never boring, always nice. And yeah, I'm very, very happy. So I will take it off, so I will stay happy. Okay, next thing. I frogged a sweater. Here are my yarn balls, my new friends. I frogged my striped sweater. The striped sweater is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I made mine in 22. It was also in this book. Oh, I thought I put something in between. Yes, in 22, March 22, I started. It was quite interesting because when the pattern came out, it was not hard jumping to me. I don't know if I'm a stripy person. I wouldn't say so. Although I love stripy projects. I love the making of it. Knitting the stripes can be very addicting. But I didn't fell in love with a round yoke. The stripes and the round yoke. I would rather see them in a raglan or a dropped shoulder sleeve construction. But I think maybe you recognized it. Suddenly I was knitting it. It just happened. Suddenly on a Friday afternoon I thought I want it now, and it happened. So I knitted the striped sweater, and I used some single yarn balls and some scrappy yarns, and I didn't make the right choice. I really love my color choices, and maybe I can insert a picture of my striped sweater. I really love the color choices, but let me see, this yarn, I think this was the biggest problem. The most lovely yarn, it is a Dutch yarn, hand spun and hand dyed, and it was gifted to me by my sister-in-law. She bought it especially for me on a holiday, I guess, or a weekend away. I'm not sure. And there was a label on it, and the amount of grams and meters, they were telling me it was a sport weight yarn. So I thought, okay, I can use it for my stripes. And it was my main color that will say I used it for the borders and the stripes in between. But this color I used the most. I also used Lopi Istex Einband, held double. It's a lace yarn of a very light fingering yarn, and I held it together. It's an oatmeal color, also really lovely. I had some Rauma in a beautiful brown color. I don't know for which I used it. I don't know. I also had some alpaca, Surrey alpaca from a Dutch dyer who doesn't dye anymore. Kleur en Draad, Astrid is her name, and it was gifted to me in the color Marvin, a really beautiful yellow color, and I'm a bit afraid to show it with the focus, because when I did that in my Dutch episode, and then the focus wasn't okay anymore, so I had to film a bit of that episode over, so that I don't want that again. I also, those are my most precious yarns. Those I will keep. I also used some vintage yarn, thrifted yarn, in a lovely color, but I think there's acrylic in it. More alpaca yarn. It is alpaca sock yarn from Lang Yarns. The leftover I gave to my mom last week. I love the color. I really love it. It's a sport weight sock yarn, a 6-ply. But I'm not an alpaca lover. I don't know. I knitted several times with it. It's too slippery for me. I don't know. It's not my. It's beautiful yarn, but I don't love the feeling. I prefer the rusty woolly feeling, I guess. And this is also a Lang Yarns yarn. Garen wou ik zeggen. That's not even a Dutch word. Garen is the Dutch word. It's Lang Yarns Donegal. I once crocheted a sweater with it, but it's really, there came holes in it. I never had it with a sweater, but it's really fragile. It's a single ply, I guess. Really lovely with the tweeds in it, but I held it together with a black lace yarn, also from Lang Yarns, a silk mohair, I guess. And then it was okay, but those are going to my mom for her scrappy projects or in the thrift store basket. But I knitted that sweater. It was a fun project, although I can remember that the stripes, it was also asking some willpower from me. I did expect the stripes would be more motivating, but at the end I had to put myself together and finish that sweater. That's also what I remember. But the problem was, this yarn isn't a sport weight at all. It's absolutely a DK weight. And I felt that while I was knitting, but I was ignoring that because I just wanted it, and I already started and I didn't want to rip out, so I just knitted and I thought maybe it will block out, maybe it will come, it will come all good, but it didn't. So the borders were quite stiff, and the neckline wasn't beautiful because it was quite stiff and standing up, and also the stripes, I had those colors together because also this one is more than a sport weight. I mean, when you held einband together, you get a letlopi weight, and that's a worsted weight yarn, so not a sport weight. So I don't know what I was thinking, but also this one was too thick. So the stripes in the sleeves were really going that way. So it was not matching. The rest of the yarn was feeling perfect and was nice and a nice fabric, but those two were really bothering me because they were way too stiff and not, the sweater was not beautiful. So I started with thinking in solutions. It was a top-down sweater. Can I rip out the border and add a new one? And also at the sleeves and the bottom, that would be easy. Only the neckline would be a little bit harder. But it didn't work out. And then I put it all in a bag and it was there for quite some time. And I was cleaning out. And then I realized, okay, I don't want to put the sweater away because those yarns are too special for me and I can reuse them, so I will frog the thing out. So I did, and it was really satisfying. So I had to, all the weaving in yarn ends I had to pull out, and that was quite a bit work, but it was very satisfying to wound new yarn balls from a sweater that will be never wear by me and also by someone else, because it was just not feeling good. It was not only the fit or the taste, it was just not the good match. And it made me realize that it can be very good. It is a life lesson again. When you have things in your life, it may be a sweater, but it can also be a thing at your work or a thing in a relationship or with a friend or in your house or whatever. It can be anything. When you put a lot of time and love and maybe money for yarn or whatever, you invested a lot in something, and then it became something that isn't hard jumping. Sometimes it isn't. It was never hard jumping. Sometimes it was hard jumping, but it isn't anymore. And then because you invested so much, you don't want to say goodbye to it because I put so much time. I spent so much time making it. I spent so much effort. I put so much effort in it, and yeah, you don't want to let it go. But it's also not serving you anymore. It's not feeling good. It's not matching, and then yeah, you can let it rest. You don't have to decide immediately. You can try to fix it, sometimes with little solutions, little modifications. A thing will work perfect. I also, when we go back to the knitting, I have sweaters and cardigans that I was never wearing, but when I add a color or just remove the color or whatever, it became favorite pieces. So sometimes a little modification can be the solution, or you can stick it or whatever. But when that's also not working out, then yeah, frogging out is a good thing to do. I wasn't over, how do you say it? I didn't decide too fast. I just let it rest for more than a year. No, not more than, yeah, a year, I guess, for a year. And I never wear it, and now I've frogged it, and it was as if I was wounding the yarn balls, that a little bit of the energy I put in it, the energy and love I put in it, I was receiving back through the winding, and it was energizing. And I was really, instead of a sweater I didn't love, now I have possibilities, and I am really thankful for that. And it was really a nice process, and it gives me the confidence that when things aren't working in your life, for me, my working part was really also exactly the same. I put so much love and effort in it, and once it was good for me, but I felt it wasn't for a long time anymore. But I I just couldn't say goodbye. It was not, I didn't want to frog out because I was afraid I would regret and who I am. But when I finally did decide to frog it out, and it was quite a long process, it was so refreshing and so nice. And I can think of it back to that period from, oh, that was nice, that was okay, but it's not the right thing for me nowadays. And so also with a sweater, it's quite easily. It's easily with a sweater, more easy with a sweater than with the heartbreaking things, of course. But you can be inspired by your knitting when you're practicing those things with your knitting or crochet. You can maybe also see it in your real life when it's necessary. Maybe you don't have those kind of things, and it's also okay. But I really love the life lessons from my knitting. So new possibilities. I think maybe I will use it as a contrast color. No, not a contrast color for some color work, for a color work yoke. I have a lovely color combination in mind, but I don't know if it's enough. I also was thinking about making a new headband. I would also love it, but those are all loose ends, little, because they were stripes. So I will, on my Niddy Noddy, I was gifted from a Dutch knitter. That's not the right sentence. I received from a Dutch knitter. I don't know how you say it. I will make a skein of it, and then I will soak it in water. So it will be hopefully a little less crinkly. And I will add it to my stash. I have no plans for it right now, but they will definitely come, I guess. So enough about that. I also received some new yarn. I don't want to have new yarn. You all know that, and I know that too. But when I was at the knitting event, the Knit and Knot, a few weeks ago, there was a lady, and she found me through someone else contacted her with me, and she was planning to open a new online yarn shop, and with a little special story, because she was Dutch but also Spanish. I think a Spanish father and a Dutch mother. I'm not quite sure if I remember it correctly. But she lived in Portugal for quite some years, really a long time. And last year she came. No. I have to tell the good story. You can read the story on our website. I will link it down below. I'm quite sure it's in English too. She uses her Instagram in Dutch and in English. 3 years ago, she has a very nice beginning of her knitting and crochet adventure. And that little story she shares on her website. And she was living in Portugal by then. And she was really enjoying the Portuguese and Spanish yarns. And then the knitting and the crochet gifted her so much when she was having hard times. And last year she moved back to the Netherlands, and she really missed the Portuguese and Spanish beautiful rustic yarns. And she decided to start a web shop, an online shop in the Netherlands. And her shop is called Wol uit het Zuiden. And that can be translated as wool from the south. We live in the Netherlands, and Spain and Portugal. My head's going faster than my mouth. Spain and Portugal are at our south. So she asked if she could send me some yarn. And I received some really lovely skeins. And it was quite fun because I told her I love brown. It's really, when it's laying on my lap, there is that really lovely, delightful smell of wool, of the sheep, is coming into my nose. So it's really, I love it. She sells 4 brands. I don't know all 4. I have 2, I guess. I don't know how to pronounce it. Delana, I don't know. It is Spanish. It's all Spanish, but there are some lovely wools. I will show them to you, and then I have to check the focus of my camera because that went wrong in the Dutch episode. This is some lovely brown yarn, and I am not sure if you can see the shades. Look at it. It's so beautiful. All the brown. Absolutely beautiful. La Madrilana, it's called La Madrilana. And I have some from that brand. Let's do it by brand. This one. This is the same brand. Also a lovely shade of brown. You can see the label. This is more like a DK weight, I guess. Really lovely. And then this one is a worsted weight, and it's absolutely perfect for a Felix cardigan or a Felix sweater. Also perfect for color work, I guess. I really love it. Absolutely beautiful. And then another brand. This is Rosario's. This is one of my favorites. I don't know if I can catch the color. Yeah. The lightning is, yeah, do you see all those colors? A little bit of yellow and brown. I really love it. And then I have a mix of cotton and wool with 2 shades of brown. It's also a fun yarn. I can see me making a summer top in it. And then she also sent me one lovely yarn ball. This is 100% silk. Also in the brown. Yes, and now we have to check the focus. Yes, we're all good. To be honest, I don't know if I can recommend those yarns because I didn't knit with them. Yeah. You have to be sure, but you can always ask Antoñita, that's her name, Antoñita herself. I'm quite sure she will be very positive about those yarns because otherwise she wouldn't sell it. But on her website, I'm not sure if the website is in English, but you can always send her questions in English, and of course you can use Google Translate. You can find all the yarns on the website, but also needles and patterns and books and all the things you need for knitting something, and she really wants to help you out. And I don't know to which countries she will ship, but you always can ask her. So I will link her down below, her website and her Instagram. And yeah, the reason I want to show this and want to tell about her new shop, even if I don't know if I can recommend the yarn, which I do believe, but only for the smell. It's so good. But the main reason is that I really feel inspired when someone's following her heart, and she really did. So yeah, I think that's very inspiring. We should all follow our hearts as much as possible, especially when the heart is jumping. So the colors are heart jumping to me, and I will definitely try those yarns. And those would be lovely headbands too. Ooh, yes. Sarah's a happy person. Okay, last but not least, a little bit about the Hinterland dress make-along. I'm organizing a Hinterland jurk. Jurk is the Dutch word for dress. A Hinterland jurk make-along from the 1st of October until the January 31 in the next year. Together with my knitting friend Jessica, she made me 2 Hinterland dresses. I started the first one myself, but I'm not a very talented sewer. So it didn't work out, and then I cried for help, and she was there, my sewing angel, and she made me 2 dresses and a skirt, and they are absolutely heart jumping to me. They are my favorites. But I still really want to be able to sew my own clothes, my own dresses, my own skirts. And we decided, Jessica is really a lovely lady, and she really love to help all the other people. So we decided to organize a make-along, and we do it in Dutch. And I never expected English-speaking people to be interested too. I didn't think about it, so I'm sorry. But I think maybe it's interesting for you what we decided. We were a little bit overwhelmed. We did 2 live videos on Instagram to share our plans, and we planned to make a group chat, but we were a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of people that want to join. And then we thought, oh no, a group chat would be way too overwhelming and messy and not good for this. So we created a separate Instagram account, which name is HinterlandJurkMAL. I will link it down below. It's a private account, but you can follow it already. And when it starts on Sunday, I will add everyone. And I think it would be fun for English-speaking people too. Still, the make-along, we do it in Dutch. But you can use the Google Translate buttons on the Instagram account quite a lot, and you can use Google Translate, and you can, when you have questions, you can share them with us in English, because there are quite a lot of Dutch people who also are speaking English very well. There are also quite a lot of Dutch people who are not as confident as needed to organize this whole make-along in English. So for them, we do it in Dutch, and also a little bit for ourselves, because Dutch is my mother language. It's the most easy for me to communicate in Dutch, and I always communicate on my Instagram in Dutch. Every now and then I go to English, but I know there are quite some people having hard feelings with the English language, and I really try to convince those Dutch people that English isn't, don't have to be scared of the English language, and but that works better in Dutch, I guess. So I have very good experience with speaking English myself. I was so scared of it. You all know when you are watching my videos for quite a while, and it's still far from perfect. But I'm enjoying it so much now. So I really want to inspire them to don't be afraid of English. Just knit the English patterns and you will be happy. It's not as hard as you think, I guess. But if you are an English-speaking person and you want to join the knit-along, you are... no, it's not knit-along, the make-along. Actually, it's a sew-along, but I don't like the word sew. But if you want to join, you are more than welcome. And maybe there are more English-speaking people and you can connect in a group chat together, and that would be lovely. So I think it is interesting for English hinterland makers too, if you want to. You are absolutely welcome. Okay, that was enough for today. I will edit this... videos, this podcast episodes quite soon, so I can finish my sock cardigan. I'm very looking forward to that. And I want to wish you a very nice weekend. I hope you have some knitting or crochet time, and I hope you can find some heart jumping moments in your weekend. I will, and I hope I can share some with you coming Monday. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. Bye.